have a little bit of fun tonight. We'll resume with kind of continuing education in the new year. We've got several kind of things on the agenda. Greg's going to do some help with us with creating YouTube and video content. That's going to be fun. And if I don't know if you guys have ever watched Greg's Golf Shack from Newfoundland. He's an Ontario guy, but he's out in the East Coast. He's about as entertaining as they come. I check on my phone all the time to see if he's put something else out there. So I like Greg's stuff and Larry Rinker's stuff, but I don't watch a lot of golf other than those two guys. So, anyways, he's going to help us with some stuff. Jeff Howe and I, we started to put together some club fitting stuff, and a good friend at Jeff's give us a lot of information. So we're going to do some club fitting in the new year, and then we're going to go back around and look at the list of stuff I don't have in front of me, but there are more agenda items. Anybody that did miss the Larry Rinker last week, I just can't tell you. Bob's shaking his head like, yeah, you should watch it because you know I'll tell you two little things. I've taught golf a long time, and one of the things I really believed up until following Larry Rinker was if you get the big muscle groups moving properly, you can be a good golfer. And he'll quickly tell you that it's the dexterity and the little muscles that really make a difference on where the club face is pointed and all those things. And it makes sense when you think about it. So that was one of the things that he really talked about. The other thing is you know, just identifying, we all would agree, I think, that you don't teach every golfer the same information. However, when you step back and say, well, what would I have taught this student versus this student versus this student? Did you ever really have a plan on how to differentiate? And that's where I think Larry Rinker makes it really clear and easy. And he gives you kind of some tools to work with to diagnose things. So he's also got a couple of ebooks that I will send out. I only sent them to Jeff so far, but I'll include them in the January or the end of December. Yeah, you're gonna read them, eh, Paul?
Hope so.
Yeah. So, anyways,
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
no,
I watched them last week. And it was almost 2 hours. Right now, I'm not teaching like you guys are teaching or anything like that, but I've been in the golf a long time, playing as a kid, growing up in Ireland and all that type of stuff. He literally blew me away. That's the best way for me to explain it. But he's given me an appetite for it. Now I want to know more. Because now I'm totally confused. If that makes sense, anybody else was watching it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There was nothing in his presentation that I opposed or anything like that, but I'm open to it. Right? Yeah. And he just opened up my head. I said, my God, have I been doing stuff wrong all my life, or where are we going from here? You know what I mean?
Part of the learning curve. Valerie said the same thing to me. She says, I'm embarrassed to say I've never heard of this stuff. And then she said she was talking to Brandon. If you guys remember Brandon, PGA, a Canada member that works with Golf Forever, the kind of the lead salesman, lead guy, he did our demo. She started trying to explain the upper core, mid core, lower core to Brandon. And he's like, his eyes just bugged up. She said he had no idea what. So she said, I felt a little better that here's a guy who's probably TPI trained. And that's one of the realities is Larry Rinker said that, you know, TPI training is basically mid core training. And obviously that didn't work for everybody. Dan knows about TPI. He's Dan in Ottawa, level 4 now or 3?
Golf and level 3 power.
Sorry, you just say that again because you cut out.
I'm a level 3 golf and now level 3 power with TPI.
Nice. So Dan's been down south to California a few times with TPI, right? Yeah. And you enjoy it too, right? Yeah.
I'm trying to get Jason Su back on the call. I reached out to him, so
Oh yeah, nice.
yeah, more to come on that.
Yeah. So that would be another nice night for the CGTF. We would get Dan to coordinate with Jason Zubak. That would be fun, eh?
So I
Maybe
actually have a,
Smash.
I have a, yeah, I have to actually have a Jason Subak story.
from
So
Calgary.
from Calgary. So I was at the Douglasdale range in the south side, and it's a long range. It's probably the longest public range in Calgary. And I'm just smacking my driver, thinking I'm doing pretty good. And I hear this noise behind me, just like a thunderclap. Bang, bang. So I'm swinging harder now because I'm trying to match that sound. And it's almost starting to hurt. And I stop, I look around, and I see this golf bag with 10 drivers in it, a wedge, and Jason Zubak on the bag. I couldn't move my left arm the next day. I was swinging so hard trying to match what he was doing behind me. So I didn't feel that bad after. And in talking to him, it's the only range he can use in Calgary because he'll hit the ball out of every other range. So yeah, Jason, great guy, tremendous golfer. His big shtick was celebrity tournaments a few years ago. And he says, all I'm doing, I'm hitting driver and wedge, driver and wedge. That's all he had in his bag. So yeah, Jason, good guy. That'd be a great guy with a lot of stories.
He's now working with Golf Forever too. So
Oh,
that's
really?
kind of
Wow.
yeah. He's a
Very
Golf
cool.
Forever. Golf Forever is just going everywhere.
Mhm.
Everywhere you look. Do you know that every LPGA Tour player warms up with Golf Forever before they go on the range now? It's like it's incredible. It's everywhere.
Cool.
So yeah. Well, we've got a few people on. Like I said, we have a guest coming in at 8 o'clock. Why don't we go around and have everybody kind of introduce themselves, where they are, how long they've been with the CGTF, and either your favorite purchase in 2023 or your best event or memory from 2023. How about that? Does that sound good? Greg, I know you want to go first.
Oh, no. All right. Well, here I am. I mean, I'm probably the newest of the bunch here. I think I was became certified maybe February, I think it was February, early March this year. So it's just, just under a year, but I'm very excited. I've been a golf fanatic for many years, decades, I guess you could say. And I'm really excited for this opportunity, and I'm learning a lot. I hope to be part of these meetings and learn a lot from fellow members here at the CGTF. But I guess, yeah, I mean, I like to do the entertainment aspect of golf a little bit. I'm on YouTube doing some Greg's Golf Shack stuff. I watch a lot of YouTube golf. It's kind of veered me away from watching like PGA tournaments and even live tournaments. I really enjoy watching some of the good golf events and Rick Shields and a lot of the classics that are on YouTube. I think that's where our next generations of golfers are going to be coming from and who they relate to when they come out for lessons from us. So I enjoy being part of that, and I wanted to be part of that, creating some videos. I guess, if we're talking about my most memorable purchase, it would have to be my SkyTrack. I mean, I was using, the OptiShot 2 just for fun, for myself, and it's not very accurate, but still fun. Shows you club face, shows you club path, all that kind of stuff. But the SkyTrack has opened up a whole new world. I don't even have the Plus yet, but the SkyTrack Original is fantastic. I set it up in my personal studio, and just getting that data, getting the accurate results, providing a system that I can bring people in for lessons into my own personal studio and have some great simulator launch monitor results to show them is pretty fantastic. And I wish I had waited about 2 weeks so I knew that the SkyTrack Plus was coming out. But either way, it's all good. That'll happen eventually. And I'm just happy to be here and among such a great group of people. And I can't wait to get to know you better and learn a lot from you as time goes on. Thanks.
Well, that was awesome. How about our other Greg? Oh, lost your video, Greg.
Sorry, got it back. Hit the wrong button. How are you guys?
Good.
Greg, good to see you.
Good to see you guys. Yeah, I like the hat there, Jeff.
Trying to be ho, ho, ho in the moment.
But I got to tell you, I like Tim's hat better.
Yeah, I know.
With the hair. I don't know where
As
he's getting
as
that
soon as
hair
I saw
from.
Tim's, I went and changed.
Nice, nice. So I'm Greg Salazar. That I'm not as popular as Greg Wells, but I don't do YouTube. I did it long time ago, long before you were probably here, Greg. But anyway, I've been doing this for 27 years. This is my 27th year as a teaching pro. I do a bunch of other things as well. I also own a travel agency. So we tend to take a lot of people traveling on golf trips. Jeff Howe's aware of it, and so is Mark. Tim probably knows about it too. Yeah, so I take people on trips. We've got one coming up, going to South Africa in April. If anybody's interested in going, let me know. Lots of other things I can do and get you elsewhere as well. But anyway, my most interesting purchase this year was a swing balance mat or Body Track, same company. Swing Balance put it together, and I want to tell you guys, it's made a lot of difference to the way I teach. Being able to see with your eyes is a lot different than what you can see with technology. So it's taught me that I have not been doing the correct pressure shifts, even with myself. Even though I'm a decent player, I know I'm better now, and I keep working with it, and I can get to it. Mark, you have one as well, right? Correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
They are really good, and I recommend you guys, if you're thinking on purchasing one, go look online for Terry Hashimoto. He's the guy that invented it, and he's got a new program out right now teaching you how to use the mat. It's $100 US, but it's well worth the while. It's a five series lessons thing that he shows you how to do it, and it's actually worthwhile. So anyway, that's enough about me.
Yeah,
Any
I think
questions?
anytime you can get things like that show you real time, where things are going. So the mat, I'm a big hack motion guy on the wrists, and it just, you can see the wheels turning in people's minds that, oh my gosh, that's where I'm supposed to be, or oh my God, that's where I am.
Absolutely.
So I really think it really bumps up the learning curve when you
Yeah.
use tools like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
they are expensive, but
Yeah.
you'll get great value and you'll get great word of mouth, and it'll just add to your business.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's amazing when you tell somebody, go ahead and put your pressure on your left foot, and they see it light up on the mat, or they don't see it light up on the mat, and they think they're doing it, but they're not, and then you see it right there in front of you, and you can show them what's going on. Yeah, you're right. Experience and what you can see is reality is, as we say all the time, feel is different than real, right?
Right. Yeah. Feel versus real.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah. Bob, I'm just picking people at random here.
So I'm looking at the list of names and I'm the only Bob up there.
Yeah.
Sometimes somebody said I'm in a
You spell
mall.
yours backwards though,
Yeah.
Bob.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I am ambidextrous. But yeah, I'll be in a mall, somebody else, hey Bob, and there'll be three guys living. So Yeah, I'm the Bob. I'm part of the Calgary mob, I guess, with Tim, and I'm not sure if anybody else is from Calgary that's online right now. I'm only 3 years in my CGTF journey. I spent 40 years in government and private sector and consulting and oil and gas and pipelines doing regulatory work. Always, around the edges doing some not golf teaching, but helping folks out a little bit. And so when I did retire just before COVID, I thought this is really what I want to do. I mean, I wanted to do it when I was 18, but circumstances were different then. So CGTF really fills a tremendous gap for me. So I'm part of the COVID cohort of CGTF. So we are the online kids growing up through CGTF. It was fantastic, obviously, meeting Mark and Jeff and going through with, there were probably 7 or 8 others of us in that cohort. And then after a year, when I started teaching, and a year later did do the master teaching professional course as well. So again, CGTF has just given me so much in 3 years. It's hard to explain. The highlight for me in 2023 wasn't purchasing anything. It actually was a relationship, and it was a relationship in Calgary with Golf Park. So Golf Park have 3 locations, 2 in Calgary right now, 1 in Airdrie, and of those 3 locations, they have 8 and 7 is 15, and 6 is 21. They have 21 private studios, and it was just by happenstance. I'm driving down Crowfoot Trail after I had cataract surgery, both eyes, this January, February, and end of May was my last follow-up session. I'm driving down Crowfoot because I'm not working downtown anymore, retired, and I see the sign, Golf Park, indoor golf. I go in, strike up a conversation with them, and in an hour, I've got a deal working with them for 3 locations. So it was fantastic.
Good thing you got your eyes fixed,
really.
Bob.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
You can
So that
drive
was
by that sign.
say the first week of May. That's right. And by July 1st, we set up an 8-week junior program. So we did 8 5-day junior camps last year. We ranged from, because we were doing it indoor, we had some interesting things to work out as far as safety issues and just the numbers that one instructor could handle. So it was fantastic. We did put 60 kids through last summer, and next year we'll probably put 120 through. That relationship has continued with Golf Park, and I have spoken. Tim's on the line here. I've spoken to Tim and a couple of other local CGTF fellows. Right now, my objective is 3 leads for each of those locations, and an assistant at each location. So it really was a year of a relationship building, and it's been, I have to say, really successful, really beneficial. So yeah, 2023, that was a good one.
Fantastic.
Good job.
Who wants to go next?
Wayne does.
Yeah, he's clicking on something.
No, song move.
I'm trying to click, yeah. I'm probably the newest member. I got my accreditation in I think October, this past October, so just a couple months in. And I worked in the oil industry for a number of years and retired, and very keen on. I'm on YouTube all the time. I still watch a lot of instructors, love club fitting, and then in the spring, this past spring, I built a golf room with the full sim, the GC3 and so forth, and really started to dig in on my own game, and then decided, boy, you sure can learn a lot about yourself and others and in your swing and so forth. So with that, I went through the courses and got accredited. So I'm just getting going. I live out south of Edmonton at Pigeon Lake. So it's a resort area. So it's pretty quiet in the wintertime. Lots of golf around here in the summertime. So I'm just, right now I'm not for profit, but I'm starting to teach the odd lesson to just going, and I'm going to fire out some Facebook stuff in the new year here to get going a little more. So I'm just sort of in the spot of kind of getting going, but I'm not sure how hard I want to get going with it. And that's kind of where my struggle is right now, is how deep to put my toe in is really, to be honest, where I'm at. So the golf room was my biggest purchase and best one, but probably the thing that was life-changing, we had that Golf Forever presentation a few weeks ago, and the alternative was the Fit for Golf. Mike Carroll has that one, and from a personal point of view, it's really improved my fitness and how I feel about myself and so forth. So I've really enjoyed that, and I've gained a bit of club speed, and yeah, so life's good.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Yep. Who wants to go next?
I'll get it over with.
Attaboy, Paul.
Oh, it's so painful, Paul.
Okay, you can turn off now. I'm Paul Kelly. I live in a little hamlet called Uxbridge, Ontario. And I've been living here for quite a few years. Did some head pro stuff with one of our local pro shops. Got out of it for a while. I had some hip surgeries and some strokes, and other than that, everything is fine. So in the last while, I've been getting the itch to get back into teaching. Although you never leave it. Right? You're always dabbling with it and stuff like that. And I love the game. I love the equipment. I love to know the technology behind it, right? But if there's one thing I would warn about is utilizing or using the technology to compensate for your lack of experience in teaching. It doesn't work. You know, it's all great and fads with the technology, but we need to know what we're talking about as well. We need to know how to do our jobs, okay? I find sometimes there's a lot of people will go out there and they'll use the technology, and people will get mesmerized by it, but they won't necessarily learn anything. So anyway, I'm having some fun. I work full time still. I work at Walmart in their ship and receiving department, so I'm busy most days of the week. I did manage to knock off Mondays, where I don't work on Mondays, and it's kind of working out pretty good right now for lessons and stuff like that at these simulators that I'm involved with. There's a new set of simulators that opened up in town. Fine young fellow, and he did an awesome job building these simulators. And they're not your standard simulator. They're big, spacious, bright, which is just beautiful. You know what I mean? And from that perspective. And so I'm in the process right now of looking at what do you call it? Upfound, the software?
OnForm, yeah.
OnForm. Okay, I knew it was somewhere up there.
Yeah.
And I did get the tablet. I'm working on it. I think my biggest problem right now is Apple, not the golf. And we're working on that. And I actually
one bite at a time, Paul, when you're working with that Apple.
Oh yeah. One bite at a time, yeah.
Yeah.
As I say, how do you eat an elephant?
Yeah.
One bite at a time.
Yep.
But I would suggest to say the Wayne and the Bobs that are the newer guys, and Greg, is look at the resources you've got between Mark and Jeff and Greg and ourselves. You know what I mean? Don't feel you can't ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Okay. Always feel free to this is what this is all about. You know, the camaraderie. You know what I mean?
You got it. That's well said, Paul.
Yeah, I'm going to steal some people's thunder, and we're going to hear from the actual newest member, Calvin. Calvin's he got certified in November, so I'm going to let him tell you his story, but Calvin signed up for 5 lessons with me, and then he decided, geez, I'm smarter than Mark, so I'm going to take the course so I can teach people. But anyways, Calvin, you tell us your story, because without me going on.
Well, it's good to be here. I don't think I said I was smarter than Mark. I think I asked Mark, I said, how can I have your job? And he said, you can't have my job, but I can teach you how to do what I do. So from there, we started and never looked back, really. probably was the best purchase of the summer or the year, 2023, was the lessons to become involved. I live in between Belleville and Kingston, a little town called Deseronto. We have a couple of courses right close by here that we're hoping to get involved with and go from there. And yeah, it's a lot of information to take in. You know, like last week with Larry Rinker, I thought he was amazing for first time listening and getting involved with it. So it was good, and yeah, we're just open to learning as much as I can.
Kelvin, you're going to do great. Kelvin's pretty modest, but I think he's coached a million sports, and especially baseball, and his eye for baseball and his eye for training people. There's no doubt that he's going to do a great job when he gets his opportunities, and he's in a good location. That there are some opportunities. There's a golf course there, nobody's really teaching, and there's one of his old bosses just opened up a simulator down in Deseronto. So there are some cool things happening that, you know, was part of the reason for taking the course. But I just want you to know, Calvin, I'll always be here for you, because I think the world of you, and anything you ever need, you just ask.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Who wants to go next?
I think I should go next.
So Tim, sorry, we'll come to you next, Dan. Tim.
Yeah, I think we should go from the very newest member to probably the oldest member, both, physically and mentally. Yeah, I joined the CGTF actually went to the USGTF first in 1998, and I've been a member of the CGTF since it started in Canada when Jeff Bryant's brother Bob started it here. So I joined them right away. I was very happy to be a part of that first group of folks that joined. Worked with, was involved in my first level 4, in the first level 4 that was run in Canada. I was then was able to run the programs in Vancouver on the West Coast, in Calgary and Edmonton and Vancouver, and certifying. I don't know how many years I did it, at least 10. We ran the courses and just had a wonderful time meeting guys that were extremely passionate about the game and loved to play and loved to learn and loved to compete. And it was amazing to see the passion of people trying to obtain their certifications. And it was just a tremendous experience. I started out, I went through, I think I bought every training aid that there was available for golfers, and took some initial camera work and video work and simulator work. And I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, I threw it all out and started going back to how I learned to play the game when Mo Norman was around, and guys like that who taught us how to play. And we walked around with guys like that and caddied for them, and just had a great time. So the only training aid I use now, and it's probably one of the best purchases that I've ever made. I bought 300 of these this year, and they're going to go out to students next year. I love to teach tempo and timing and feel without the use of electronics. I like them to learn how to walk and feel their feet and understand what good balance feels like, and from a feel standpoint rather than a technology standpoint. That being said, I've used camera and love what it does, but I'm also involved with competitive players and doing seasonal planning and teaching or coaching players on how to set up their tournament schedules for a year and how to peak at the right moment and try and get their games in shape so that when they're playing in their most important tournaments, that they're peaking at that time. And so developing that sort of planning is something that I've also done. Yeah, the other thing I'm involved in facility sales, golf course sales and golf course consulting. So it's an interesting facet of the business that I think will allow me to assist in not so much growing the game, but maintaining the game. I think growing the game, I think maintaining the game and the culture and the history of the game is as important or more important than trying to grow it. So that's sort of where I come from. Well, actually, my second best purchase this year was a Mizuno driver with a senior shaft in it. And I got my drives back up there so I can play with the young guys still. So it's lots of fun. You got to have lots of fun. Pleasure to have here. Pleasure to be here. And thanks for listening to this old fart. Appreciate it.
No, thank you, Tim.
I think it's great. I like the way you're thinking. You know, you're being more instinctive, intuitive, right? Getting back to the real grassroots by the best F word in golf, which is feel. So I think that's awesome that, you know, you go back to that level to get those students to go through that process. And I commend you for that.
Thanks very much.
What are those red rings called?
It's just a swing ring.
Wing weight.
And swing weight there.
Okay.
Actually, when you get two, and now I work out with three of them on a driver, and creates a lot of weight at the end of the swing and builds a swing. My belief is that you cannot repeat a bad swing. If you continuously get a swinging motion going, it is impossible to maintain a swing that a bad swing. You know, they're coming inside and out, picking it up or doing whatever. Once they start the motion of the club moving, they have no choice but to start developing a good swing. So I always teach whenever I teach and I start a player, or whether they be good or whether they be a pro or whether they be a raw beginner, the first 20 minutes is swinging the club. There's no hitting balls. It's trying to learn and trying to get a feel for the swing and the transfer of weight and balance, feel of the hands, get the feel of what that stick's supposed to feel like when you swing it. So
Cool. Thank you.
it's fun. It's fun.
I
Awesome.
found with the whatever we call it, Chad, these swing weights, the small ones with the junior golfers, it's really good for warming up because it's easy to throw on their club, and they are starting to understand a little more about the club head being very important in the swing. Because otherwise, like I'm using a weighted 5-iron or something for my older students, and yeah, that gets them, you know, getting that feel of the club head being in control. But for the younger, the juniors, they actually love those little donuts. Put them on and start their warm-ups.
The club heads of drivers now are so light, it's really hard to feel them. So if you can start to, and the irons are the same, there's no weight in the heads anymore.
Yeah.
So it's hard to learn to feel if you don't put an artificial weight on it.
Yeah, and it's not one of those $200 swing weight items. So that's a nice part too.
Perfect. All right, Dan in Ottawa.
Actually, it's more like Vancouver today. It's 5 degrees. It's been raining all day. So we will be having another green Christmas in Ottawa. Last year was the first year that we had no frost in the ground in history. So all the golf courses were pretty much open in early May. And anyways, we had no puddles whatsoever. I think I've been with the CGTF. I started with the level 1 way back, I think it was 2015, 2016. At that time, I was a technical advisor with the KVAS. I remember going down to Mark's former aunt there. Where was that? You were a GM there at the golf course. Can't remember where it was.
Bay of Quinte.
Bay of Quinte. So, and then I did the level 2 also during the COVID times. As was mentioned, I've basically been in the private sector. I'm still in government right now, but while I was in between jobs, I did a seminar with TPI in Toronto in May of 2018. 10 and got so hooked that I did all my levels that year. So I've done, as Mark knows, I've done a bunch of certification and I've touched a lot of different technologies, and I'm even a certified personal trainer. But really, I echo what Tim says. When I was at the Golf Expo this year, I did 20 lessons, and I think the majority of the time, unless someone was really out of posture or I had some really weird grip, I focus a lot on rhythm and balance. And if Jason Zubak was here tonight, he would tell you that as we age, balance is critical because we lose the ability to generate force in the lateral motion. Anyways, I won't go into the specifics, but we live our lives in one plane. We don't do a lot of things in transverse or laterals. So, you could have people. I found that I get people that are, their mechanics are solid. They're in a great position at the top, but if they're always swinging out of rhythm, they'll always find some way to compensate. So, interesting enough, because of the TPI background, I've worked with a lot of golfers who are coming back from injuries, knee replacement, hip replacement. I have a guy now from the Forces veteran with 3 disc or fuse. So for me, I've always been looking at, unless it's stack and tilt, and you have someone with 0 hip mobility, I'm not really, I don't believe in one way of swinging. I think everyone can swing in a very efficient and healthy manner. And that's really the way I see things going on. So also I have to thank Mark. Mark's been a really a mentor for me. And in terms of the best purchase for me this year was really just heading back to TPI for the first time since 2018 and doing the level 3 power and learning that they're going to have the World Golf Fitness Summit again in Orlando for the first time since 2018. So that's going to be great. Nice
Well,
meeting all of you.
yeah, Dan's an awesome guy. We had a great time down in Ottawa and got to play a couple rounds of golf this summer. So him and I have bonded, and it's nice to. I wish all you guys lived closer. You could play golf with me once in a while, and it would be great.
Just don't pick a day when it's 50 kilometers an hour wind. Remember when we had that golf course is gorgeous, but man, is it exposed to wind. Like I had to factor in the wind with putting like they were doing at the PNC yesterday.
It was incredible.
Don't come to Newfoundland. That's normal here.
It's not normal in Sterling. So, no. Derek, been patiently waiting there.
You can keep waiting. I'm very, very underwhelming. You guys are all like, I'm in awe. I'm just sitting here looking at, the group, and I'm going, please don't ask me, Mark, because I really have nothing. I have nothing to offer here.
That's not true at all.
Well, all right. So the backstory is last February, I took a trip down with some friends of ours, my wife and I, and we golf regularly as a foursome. And I met Mark at the travel and golf show at the convention center, Toronto Convention Center. And he was standing there, and he really friendly guy. And I just walked up to him and I said, look, I love golfing, but I wouldn't mind thinking about becoming an instructor. So you sold me on it right then and there. You were so great. And you told me about the different levels. So long story short, in the winter, I was down in Costa Rica for a few months, and I took the course online from down there. And then I came back, and then I decided to play in the tournament out in Burlington, and I got my full certification. So anyway, since then, I've had, my personal life has been very busy. I'm semi-retired. I got 2 grandkids out on the West Coast. I live in Holland Landing, Ontario, just north of Newmarket. And I had a couple opportunities to do some kids camps up here. A buddy of mine is the pro at a golf course called Silver Lakes, and he needed a helper with the kids camps. But unfortunately, I was away for close to a month all summer, and I couldn't commit to it. But with respect to purchase, so again, thanks to Mark, he told me about a seminar that I could attend called Shot Scope. And if just for attending, you get like this free $600 Shot Scope watch. So I I didn't even have to pay for it, to be honest. I just got it for free. I've never used a watch or any kind of device other than my cell phone the odd time for during the on course or monitoring all your stats. So a bit of a learning curve with shot scope, but I'm fairly good at it now. And I'll tell you, it sure tells you where you need to improve and what the problem is. So I can tell you guys that according to shot scope, 62% of my putts are always short. So so I'm working on making sure that I get the ball to the hole, and that's helping a little. And lately, I've just been hitting a simulator on my own and just trying to work on my own swing in that. I think, I don't know whether you guys have this, I feel a little bit of imposter syndrome. There's 18 guys that I golf with regularly in a men's league up here, and I coordinate everybody. And 4 of them I've been giving lessons to, and it's been working well, but I'm a normie newbie at this, and I just kind of feel like, I don't know, who am I to teach these guys how to golf? I mean, I know I got the certification and everything, but I just honestly feel that I got to bring my game up a little more, and feel that I can not only help them, but show them, and I'm a little bit like, I'm very self-conscious that I'm not good enough, to be honest, right now. So I'm working on getting better indoors this year and using some technology. But yeah, I'm a new member here. I love these seminars. Larry Rinker was incredible. That guy was mind-blowing last week. And if you missed it, I really highly recommend you go back and watch it on our YouTube channel. And I'm excited to be here. So I'm going to put forth a little better effort this coming spring and summer, and hopefully I can pick up a few more students.
Well, Derek, you don't need to think that all of us had it figured out when we first started. It takes a little while. So, just keep doing it, keep moving forward. And yeah, Greg's sending you some videos on the short putts too.
There you go.
What did Harvey Peanut say about putts coming up short? Anybody know? Little trivia. Harvey Peanut.
Little red book.
Didn't Harvey Peanut say that putts come up short because you're not hitting them solid? Probably.
Yeah.
Where the phrase come, good putt, Alice.
Yeah.
I
So
think the other thing, just a comment for Derek. It's I played a lot of hockey right up to major, junior, and college. My best coaches, honestly, 2 of them couldn't skate, but they were fantastic coaches. My worst coach has 3 Stanley Cup rings. So just a comment on, you don't have to be the greatest player to be a great coach.
Right.
They're different. Coaching and playing is different. So again, it's more about your relationships, your personality, your attention, your interest. That's better than, I can show you a 300-yard drive right now.
Yeah.
So I would not sell yourself short there. Personality, relationships, really important.
Exactly.
Appreciate
Well
it. Thanks,
said.
Bob. Yeah.
So we still have at least 4. Mike Shirley from the golf tent is on. Mike, are you ready to go or not yet?
Yeah, Mark, hi. I can definitely kick things off if you guys are ready.
Yeah, we'll let you do your presentation, then we'll come back to our to wrap up with our guys. And but yeah, you can take over whenever you're ready. I'm going to allow you to share your screen if you've got anything. So before you do that, I'm just going to introduce, you're down in Alabama tonight?
I am. I'll go ahead and start my video. Sorry. I'm down at a YMCA. We're inside, so I'll have to ask you guys for a little bit of concessions. We're on a slippery floor, so we can't really anchor the tents down properly. But we do have them here for everybody's viewing, and we hope you guys like what you see, and we'll share it with some of your fellow teaching professionals for sure.
Absolutely. So, I'm gonna spotlight you so you can just start whenever you're ready.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and share my screen.
Yep.
Forgive me, I'm gonna fumble here for a minute. I may have to call
Oh,
my son in here. I didn't lose anybody yet, did I?
nope, you're good.
All right, I've got a slideshow I want to start with. And Steve probably going to be getting on here in a minute, so if you
Okay.
have a look at Mark. But as you guys see our logo here, you know, our theme is golf anywhere in any weather. Do you guys see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, hold on one second. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I might have to remove the spotlight. You're on two different spots, so
Yeah, I've got a mobile feed
okay.
going, trying to at least. Which one's that?
There you're halfway there.
You know, this proves to you we're not slick salesmen, we're golf professionals.
No, you're doing fine.
I know enough about technology to make myself look like a fool. Here it comes. All right.
It says
Everybody
Louisville.
see the golf tent now? Okay,
Yep.
we're good. All right, so you can see again our Steve McComish, a Scottish golf professional, has designed this product. We're on our second iteration. The first golf tent was an inflatable product, but you can imagine being inflatable, there's always problems with leaks. So we've redesigned it and come up with a steel tent structure. And you'll see pictures of it here in a few minutes, but we just want you to know we are all about enhancing learning and providing you protection from the elements. Here's a little bit of a bio of the of Steve McComish, the original who designed the tents, and his partners there also in the UK. And then myself down at the bottom, I'm a PGA golf professional here in Montgomery, Alabama. Pardon the accent. But I've been a member since 1991. Mostly, worked at clubs, and instruction, of course, was part of my responsibilities as well. So and down here in the South, we get, you guys correct me, you guys are probably going to talk Celsius, but we get 100 degrees Fahrenheit during the summer. It's kind of brutal. So, you need a solution to protect you from the sun, to protect you from a light rain, to save those lesson days that a full-time teacher, counts on. I'm going to show you a slide here in a minute about the effects of lost time and how it can affect your income, and how a product like the golf tent can help you, recover some of those lost days. So I won't read that to you, but you can kind of see this was kind of Steve's diagnosis of the problem, and kind of provided him the vision to start the design of a temporary structure that won't break the bank. That's what our product is. It's affordable. There's a lot of products on the market, the cover shots. I think there's a product called the Dry Range, but all those start at $10,000 US and go on up. So, that's just not, practical for the majority of us. But as you can see, this little income protection slide, out of 365 days, just kind of assume you might lose 125 because of weather. The number of you've got 240 days left. If you were to teach approximately 5 lessons, you might make $81,000 if your rate was $75 an hour. If you add the golf tent to your toolbox and you pick up maybe 80 of those days, that's another, based on that math, that's another 360 additional lessons, or $27,000 in earnings. So added that to the 81,000, you've increased your earnings by 33%. So we feel like the golf tent more than pays for itself just because of that particular bit of information. But as you'll see, there's going to be advertising opportunities on the tent so that you could sell advertising space for sponsors and things of that nature when we show it to you in just a minute. But here's a picture of Steve under the golf tent. That's the Golf Tent Pro. Like we say there, we're all about enhancing the learning environment and making your students more comfortable and increasing ultimately, the instructor's income. This particular tent is suited for one person striking the golf ball and then a coach, and you're going to get to see an example of that in just a second. We've got one set up for you to see someone swinging under it, and I'll give you that description in a little bit. Here's another side picture of it with the advertising panel on the side that can be customized to your particular needs, and also it's detachable so it can be changed out. But again, it just provides you protection from the rain and the sun. And we're going to show you this in a minute. It's sets up in minutes. You see the tether wires that help provide support and stability, but you can see also there, it folds down into a nice carrying bag. So it's easily transportable. Here's a picture of my backyard. Apologize for the toys in the background, but I've got on the left the TGT Pro, and it's got a little vent hole in the back. That's again for air circulation. You got the TGT Solo, which is an individual model for the person who wants an at-home practice solution or a solution on the driving range. We think there will be clubs that might use these as cabanas almost and rent time on the driving range as a revenue stream. And then there's going to be other applications for other sports, whether it be swimming teams, stuff like that, or track teams that are looking for temporary shade as they're waiting on their events. You're going to see a half up position. We're going to show you that here in a few minutes, but this is for the indoor use. We've got ours set up with a net for you to strike balls into it. Of course, in its traditional setting, it's to be turned around and hit balls into the driving range with the coach underneath it. So it's got multiple applications there, and it also can be fitted with an impact screen, or maybe show a movie on it for the family, help justify again the cost. So to mom, because it just got multiple uses. Here's another solution I kind of came up with my own. If you needed added ventilation, we'll show you how to pull up the bottom with just a couple of bungee cords. But I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to get my two helpers here we're going to take over and do a live shot now, if we get it to work. Did Steve ever get on? He never did he?
Yes. Yeah, I'm here, Mike.
Okay, Steve.
Hey guys, hi Mark. Hey guys.
How are you?
Steve, do you want to
interject? Very well, thanks, Mark. Very good, thank you.
Steve, did you want to interject anything before we do a little bit of a live feed?
Yeah, just thank you everyone for making the effort to come and have a look tonight at what Mike's going to show you. I'll be here to answer any questions as well. Hopefully I've got some input that's useful and constructive, and I'm sure Mike's going to just show you now both the golf tents. Just all I would say is that you set them up inside tonight. Generally, the whole concept of the golf tent is to be used outside in the bad weather. Although we've got an indoor setting, which is great. It's just an extra sort of thing we've got with it. We've got an indoor setting for it, sort of half up position we call it. So it's not quite as effective, the golf tent, but you'll see tonight because he's indoors. But it's I'll give you a wee bit of an idea anyway. Give you a gist of what's happening there.
Okay, Steve, I'll take back over. William, you need
okay.
Okay, there we are.
Yeah,
we're doing a little sound check here. We'll go mute on that one. All right, here we go. Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Thumbs up?
Yeah.
See it? Thumbs up? Okay. Okay, guys, here's the Golf Tent Pro. got my two helpers here, my son William, a friend of mine, helped him in junior golf, Stuart Tankersley. He's a PGM student at Mississippi State University. He happens to be 6'5", so we wanted you to see that this is not just for a 5 foot tall golfer. In fact, Michael Crawford, one of the other developers, is 6'7", I believe Steve said. So as you can, we're gonna walk around it for a minute. William's gonna follow us. But as you can see, the tent's got a tube steel frame that again is put together with male and female joints. There's 4 spines, if you want to call it, to the frame. And then once that of course is assembled as it's laying on the ground. And then in the front, you connect the bottom tether here to help get it into the air. And then once we're going to leave it connected because we're on a slippery floor. There's ground spikes that go into the earth. There you go. Thank you, William. That help again give it stability when we pull it into the air. But you can see from the side, William, showing that it's not, the first pole's not vertical, it's angled slightly forward. Second pole's about vertical. And then come back over here, William, and we pull it up. I probably could pull it up a little bit more into the air. The fabric at the back should just kind of be lightly touching the ground. But Stuart's going to make a couple of swings for us. He's, again, 6'5". We're going to show you how he has plenty of clearance with his iron club and back. Again, if we're able to set it up outside, he would be able to shoot a drive run with no problem at all. But as you can see, go ahead, Stuart. As a coach, again, if we would expand it a little bit more. But I can stand here face on. I can come over here, stand behind, watch him as he's practicing. Again, he would be on grass there, so that rope would be there in the middle. Stephen has designed the product so that all launch monitors, any technology that needs to sit behind the golf ball or in front, will work with the golf tent. And again, it just gives you relief from the sun. Like rain just gives you your student the ability to be more comfortable and enhance the learning that goes on. So we're going to walk over to the other tent, this golf tent solo, and show you how easy it is to pull up into the air. Now, as you can see, the first thing you do, again, this is folded up like we saw in that bag. We would put the poles together, lay it out, attach the bottom tether, and again, because we don't have it attached to the ground, these guys are going to get on either side, and I'm going to get in the middle. Go ahead on either side. And here you go. You first, again, we're having to use weight plates, but you would use your spikes and tie these down at first, and then you would go around and stake it into the ground where it would stand up, and you would remove these two to get them out of the way of practice. Now, one thing we're going to also show you is the indoor portion. That was the outdoor usage right there. We're going to drop it again. Walk around to the back. All right, you'll come over here. With the Golf Tent Pro or the Golf Tent Solo, you can get these rods that are expanded, and the steps are, you come here, you connect the first rod, you pull it taut, the fabric taut, go there, get the next rod, you go 2 rods, Okay, let's go back around to the front, will you? Get a shot. And we're here now in our half up indoor position for the garage, the backyard, whatever. We can get on this space. We've installed the netting feature. Williams or Stewart's going to hit a shot for us. Of course, you can then, instead of using the netting, use the impact screen and have a simulator. And, you know, play, you know, all kind of golf courses, just whatever to, you know, practice year round. Because we know you guys up there are bored to death and of all things playing hockey. Sorry, we're all about college football down here. But anyway, I'm going to turn this back over to Steve a minute. Then I'll share a couple more slides, and we have a proposal for you guys for your consideration. So thank you for your time. We'll take questions. I appreciate these guys helping me. I hope you like what you've seen. So I'll turn it back over to Mark or to Steve.
Well, I'm just going to tell everybody, thanks, Mike, for doing all that. Hope, yeah, you're there still. But Steve is, it's 1 o'clock in the morning where you are, so we really appreciate you taking the time.
No problem. It's fine.
Yeah,
That's
coming on.
fine.
So, you know, we're all ears, Steve.
No problem. Thank you, Mark. It's absolutely fine. It's quite funny to be up at this time of night without having a beer. It's normally there's a few beers on the go at this time for a Scotsman, that is, or a whiskey. Yeah, listen, brilliant presentation, Mike. Really well done. It was excellent. I thought you presented that excellently, and I think you showed the main features. Just to go across a couple of things there, just to clarify how easy it is to put up. Really, we've refined this, obviously, just to give you a little bit of history, I think, of the golf tent. We launched 2000. The company, I've got myself and my partner. You'll see in the handout, the presentation that Mike's done, just to give you a little bit of history about us. Myself, I'm a PGA pro. I've been since, well, I started in golf. I came out of the military. I was in the military for 9 years as a military policeman, and came out of the military. I was 28. And I was always playing golf as in the military as well. So I always wanted to be a golf pro. So I eventually went through my PGA training and everything. And it wasn't really until, I guess, sort of 2000, I was a crowd. I guess I've really coaching full time like a lot of you guys. I've been on all different weathers. I've been in Switzerland, and it was really when I was in Spain coaching in the really extremely hot weather that I came up with the idea. I sort of had a wee idea about it. I worked in a place called Hacienda del Alamo Murcia, which was southern Spain. It was absolutely roasting. It was so hot in the summer. It's almost not impossible to coach, but just unbearable, really, as you know yourself, when it's really hot. I know you get extremes of weather in Canada as well. So they had this big, massive kind of portable type thing they would use so people could hit off the grass, and it was just impractical. This thing weighed an absolute ton. It was just impractical. So I kind of had this little seed of an idea. So when I came back, I only stayed a couple of years in Spain. We came back to Scotland, to my hometown actually, and started working there and coaching, etc. And of course, the weather's opposite. It's miserable. It's raining all the time. So it's true what they say about Scotland. It's miserable and damp. And the amount of lessons, as we know, we all know the story. We get loads of lessons cancelled because of it. But it's certainly, if you don't get a lesson cancelled, you have to stay in the range, or let's say a mat or whatever. You're very restricted. You know, you're just hitting. So one thing I had the idea, so I kind of went with it. You'll see on the handout or the presentation that Mike's done, that Michael Crawford got involved really from day one with me. I was coaching Mike. Mike used to work offshore. He's now the manager of an outdoor centre. He's always a really keen golfer, quite a good golfer. He's actually 6 foot, I think 6'7" or 6'8", Mike is. Hits the ball an absolute mile. But I was coaching Mike, and I sort of spoke to him about it, and we was sort of both discussed it. So the original tent was sort of born from me and Mike. John Wallet, who's a director as well. John's a good friend of mine. I worked with John for years. He's now just become a master pro. He's in Australia now. John, he's been all over the world coaching. He coaches quite a few guys on tour. So John wanted in an idea when I spoke to John about it. He was at the Open coaching 2015. I spoke to John about the idea. and John was desperate to get involved. They actually came up with his wife and kids to see me, to speak nicely to me. And I was kind of, because he's such a good friend, I didn't want him involved really. It's a hard one to, if you know what I mean. It's always an awkward one, isn't it? But eventually relented. So John got involved as well, which was really useful as well, because he's got a lot of knowledge, a lot of good business knowledge, really. But I guess the gist of the idea really for me and Michael working together in it. So we launched the original golf tent, which was inflatable legs, inflatable leg one. Excuse me. And that's where Mike Shirley got involved. Excuse me. So Mike in Alabama sort of seen the idea, and I got to know Mike well, and sort of working with Mike, who's been great for us, of course. Mike's a great guy. He's got a lot of passion for the product as well, and understands it and gets it, which is great. It's what we need, really, of course, you know. So we originally had the inflatable legs. The problem with that is it's just that it kind of got away from that original idea was wanting for the golf tent. The inflatable leg one, which is the concept, was always good, and everyone says, "Oh, what a great concept," but it was just a little bit too big and too heavy and too clumsy, and we had issues with it. Trying to keep the quality of it was difficult. So, and one thing I learned from that, I mean, it was valuable really for us. One thing I learned is that if anything goes wrong with the problem is anything goes wrong with the golf tent, the original one, the inflatable legs, you have to replace a whole lot. So that's one thing. So basically what I've done is 2019, 18, 19, I went back to the designer with a brief and says, right, I'm going to stick. The problem is with designers, that they're very strong in their opinions, and I says, no, I'm going to be strong with this one. This is what I really want. I wanted something that's portable, lightweight, strong, all the things. But it's got to be compromises as well because of weight as well. We've got to watch that. So we had to find something that's strong. Hence the struts, the four main struts we've got are quite lightweight metal. But I guess they had to be. We could make them absolute rigid steel, but then it'd be too heavy and stuff. It kind of defeats it. So it's always a compromise somewhere. But we wanted it strong and good quality. And if anything went wrong with it, it could be replaced. So let's say one of the legs was to break through for whatever reason, it could be quickly replaced. So that's one thing we've done, which is really good as well. Again, we wanted to maintain the ability to have sponsors on the side. So the two white panels, you've seen what Mike mentioned there, you can get them printed, which is really good. So we've made them in a way that you can take it to the local printer, so you can get sponsors for it. Obviously, we've just kind of launched this one really, but I know the original golf tent, the golf club I worked at bought one. They paid full amount for it. What they'd done is it was paid by the sponsors, which was great. So there's two sponsors. There was a local realtor, estate agent in Crieff, my little hometown. He paid, what did he pay? He paid £1,500 for the side, from one side. And another guy who had his own, it was a self-employed, had his own sort of self-development type business, self-coaching business. He paid £1,000 for the other side. So that covered the cost of it for the golf club, which was great. So that's a good thing as well. So certainly I would say if anyone does get a golf tent, you can always put it up there, get it out for a couple of months. People will see it and say, "Wow, what an opportunity!" Because you'll definitely get sponsorship for it. It's up to you to choose how much you want to get for it, and you can choose. The good thing about it is you can change it anytime. These things just pop off. You can send you new ones to get printed, whatever you want to do. So that's quite a good thing as well. So that's one thing we wanted to do. So we wanted to maintain the ability for golf pros, could me being one myself, the ability not just to use it obviously for coaching and everything else, but also to generate a little bit of income and basically pay it for you, really. So that's the sort of story of sorry, we went to the, I've got the Golf Tent Pro and I've got the Golf Tent Solo. So we've got the two tents now. The Golf Tent Pro was the sort of original one. I actually called it the Golf Tent Light, but changed the name. Sort of, I think Light was a little bit misleading. So we went with Golf Tent Pro. And what people have said to me, but what about a sort of more of an indoor or home use one? So we went with the Solo as well. So it's basically just exactly the same, just different dimensions. And obviously the Golf Tent Pro being bigger is good for coaching, so you're standing in the tent with a pupil. The Golf Tent Solo is just really for the individual golfer to practice, whether at home or take to the range, or even for ranges to have. So that's the whole idea of them. So the idea being is just nice and lightweight, portable. You can take it anywhere and put it up and down. A couple of wee things just to point out as well, I just wrote down there as Mike was giving that demonstration, was that when you put it back down, interesting, when you put the Solo up, you've seen how quick it is. Actually, it's easier when it's outside, to be honest, because you can actually peg it down. It's much more solid. But when you pull it up from the front, it's nice and simple. You just secure it. But when you let it down again, you can just let it down. You can leave it if you're in a secure enough place. Let's say you're coaching and it's secure enough that you feel it's not going to get stolen for a start, or it's secure enough, just leave it there. I would put it down every night, if you're coaching, just in case it gets really windy or whatever. You can tether it down, obviously, and there's also a storm cover goes over it. So we've got a storm cover as well for it, which is just basically an extra layer which goes over it. And that allows sort of a bit more weather protection and wind protection. The reason really for the storm cover was that if you're using the simulator or whatever it is in there, electronic equipment, the golf tent, the factory did not understand why we needed the storm cover, and it took quite a bit of time to try and explain to them that just for electronic equipment, it's fully waterproof, basically. The golf tent is fully waterproof, but I guess that storm cover just gives that extra wee bit of security. Because certainly if I'm in there with your laptop and whatever you're using in there, whatever, be it the TrackMan or whatever, you want to make sure it's dry. So you want to be nice and secure, just in your mind, actually. So it's that's critical, I felt. So that's the reason for the storm cover. Plus, obviously, it gives you that extra protection. So it's like it's basically a second layer, and it's a really high quality. The storm cover, what they've done for us, the factory, is they've made it all obviously bespoke for us. So it's all fitted to the tent. Like the golf net's fitted to the tent, and also you get a white screen for it, which is the impact screen. It's really nice quality, actually. It's all bespoke and fitted perfectly for it as well, so it's good. So they've given us some really good kit. In the past, we've had stuff sent, and it's a bit crap. So this is no, we don't want that. So we've just made sure we really want to maintain the quality. And that's important to us. And like I said, if you ever get any damage, we get it sorted out. There's always spare parts for it, which is good. So, and it's just
Steve,
one thing.
I'm sorry, Steve. Let me share my screen again, and let's kind of go just through a couple more slides. And if you want, let's let them ask some questions.
Yep. Okay. Sorry, guys, for rattling on there.
It's all good.
Guys, you please chime in. Let's don't let us do all the talking. Please, again, we want this to be valuable to you.
Mike, first question is, how far back can you be behind the golfer hitting balls? So if I'm teaching in the golf pro tent, and the students hitting golf balls, how far do I have between me and the golfer?
Steve, you want? I think about 7 feet.
Yeah, you got plenty of space, Mark. You got enough space there. Certainly safe wise, anyway. You got plenty of space there. And again, certainly one thing I do is, in terms of golf lesson, I'll send someone. I've got the golf tent set up. I'll just send them out to warm up, and I'll just get them hitting in the net. I've always got the net set up, so there's a little bit, maybe sometimes a bit less space, but depends how you want to do it. If you want somebody to go and warm up for a quick 5 or 10 minutes and say, right, I'll be out. It's different if you're coaching full time. I guess I'm sort of got to be pro shop and stuff, so I'm sort of busy in there. Send somebody out, but there's enough space there, Mark. There's plenty of space for you there.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Just to build on that, if you don't mind, Mark, first of all, impressive product, guys. This is a lot bigger than I expected when I saw the golfer, the young man in there hitting some golf balls. That's pretty good. And I'm in a climate I wish heat and shade was the issue. I mean, it's more like what you're experiencing, Stephen. I'm in Newfoundland, and we have like Scottish weather out here and some winds. So I've been teaching clinics at a golf course that doesn't really have a practice facility, and we had to set up in a small area with nets. It's very windy, so a portable option is good, so you can turn it to accommodate those winds. When I was sort of asking about how deep the golfer could go into the net, it was also about like when you have that mesh net hanging down, when the young gentleman was hitting balls into the net. Is that when the tent is fully extended, does that net hang down the front? So if you're within the net, or within the tent, can you hit into a mesh net?
Yeah, you can, Greg. And also the thing about it is, it's just basically with the net, you could actually just angle it. It's quite flexible, so you could angle the net to the same shape as the tent anyway at the back. And you can let it just hang down. You could also, I guess the way we've done it is, it's obviously taut at the top and a little bit looser at the bottom, but you could still angle it to go to the shape of the tent. It obviously goes down at an angle at the back of the tent. So you could do that just to give you that little bit more space as well, which is good. Just to mention the size as well, gentlemen, is that although you can see with the strap across the bottom there, that's sort of a guideline really. That helps you when you initially set it up, but also it's a bit of a guideline. But you can actually move that. You can actually move that. If I'm outside, I take that out because I secured the bottom feet anyway. But you can actually make it wider or a little bit narrower if you wish. So it could be wider or narrower if you wish anyway. So it's not absolutely set. As long as you, I guess the main thing about it is as long as it's done at the same side. So maybe if you move it, let's say 6 inches to the right, you do it to the left as well, just so it sort of keeps its balance. That makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Greg.
Hey, Steve, you want to kind of talk about this slide? Can everybody see this slide? This is what we wanted to present.
Yeah, we've just done it. We've done a deal there, guys. I just thought, right, it'd be nice to, if anyone's interested in the golf tent. I thought, and I know you guys are. I'm guessing that a lot of you are off for the winter, and you're sort of going back to the sort of springtime. I know we spoke to you, Mark, about this before. So we thought what we could do is offer some kind of deal or some options there, a special offer. So the idea being, we just got a few options there. We just thought we'd just do it for obviously we've got 2 tents there, but just thought we'd just do it for the TGT Pro. So you can see the different offers there. TGT Pro and TG Pro Hitting Net is obviously, that's just the basic, that's just what you need for coaching to get you started. You actually don't even need the net really, to be honest with you, but it's handy having it. Option 2 would be the Pro, the Hitting Net and the white impact screen, which allows you then, that's going to allow you to then coach inside as well, like the half up position. Like, so that's what obviously Mike showed you there. So that allows that versatility as well. And option 3, we thought, right, we'll put the storm cover in as well. So it's just a wee bit, just giving you a wee bit more sort of saving there and just giving a wee bit extra that we thought, right, what's the best thing to do? So we just thought, right, if you order by the 31st of December, the reason we've done a cut-off date, gents, is that we have to order obviously through the factory. Factory is obviously in China. And just a wee word about that before I'd expand on that before I forget about it. Our factory my supplier is based in England, Lincolnshire. He's been with me since the very first golf tent. He's been through the wars with me basically and everything, trying to get the product right, which is great. He's an English guy who's got an office in China, which is really good. So that's massive for us because we can really look in the quality control and all the logistics and everything as well. So it's really helpful. So we're not shooting blind with the place. We've sourced a factory and stuff. So just to mention that there. But the problem is they've got a Chinese New Year. So there is about a month out in sort of February time. There's about a month out, I'm told. So that's why we've put a cut-off date by the 31st of December for delivery for April. And basically we thought about a deposit for it because obviously we need to put the balance down. And obviously if you wanted one, you can pay the balance as well over 3 installments. All I would do is I would just raise an invoice through PayPal. I've got a couple of ways I could do it really. If you wanted to pay the full amount, no problem. But we could do it through Stripe, or we can also do it through PayPal. So you could pay it up in the balance over a few months as well, which is helpful a wee bit as well, I'm sure. So that's the sort of options there, guys. If you're interested, we'll keep that open to the 31st of December. Obviously, you're not interested in that. Obviously, the golf tent's always there. We're not pushy. That's one thing because we're pros. Me and Mike are PGA pros ourselves, so we know we understand the situation. But there's loads of stuff on the website. And
hey, Steve, I'm going to add something real quick right here too. What we've been trying to do also, gentlemen, is recruit ambassadors. So we don't have it listed here, but we want to recruit people like yourselves that will help us use the tent in their own business. And then if they're interested in forwarding leads or things like that, use it as a revenue source an income generator for yourselves, and there's a way for you to get a free tent. So anybody interested in more information about that can reach out to us after the meeting. We won't bore you with that now, but
Yeah.
glad to talk to you about being an ambassador for us, and you're part of the world.
Hey, Mike, what does that kit bag weigh when you're unloading it? Like when you load it into your car in that little travel bag, what does that weigh?
Now, I should know this. Do you know
I
what, Mike?
feel like it's about 45 pounds. Steve, correct me.
Yeah, I think it is. Obviously sent quite a few, Jeff, to the States. And I'm trying, it's actually incredibly inexpensive, which I'm amazed at. And
Well,
I'm
I
trying
think
to
you're
think
talking
what it
about
is.
loading it, Steve, not necessarily the freight.
Yeah, the freight. But I'm just trying to think, yeah, but obviously it's based on the sort of weight though, price. I'm sure it was, yeah, I think you're a bit right. I'm trying to think kilos.
So
Yeah. No, I just wondered just to pick it up and carry it from your car to the range. What's that going to be? And then will that probably affect shipping and getting it from where? Are you shipping it from the UK or are you shipping from
Yeah,
Alabama?
shipping from the UK, Jeff, and it's actually probably going to be less expensive to ship from the UK, believe it or
Okay.
not. One thing I found is this is amazing that the first units we sold, we sent 3 to Southern California, and the gentleman I sent a raised invoice, paid it on something like the Monday, and he actually received the golf tents by the Friday. It was like 3 days. Which actually was amazing because I can send something in the UK and it can take a week to get there in the UK. So it's good.
And there would be probably duties or tariffs on that shipping.
There's no, so the situation is I need to look up Canada, to be honest, and see what the tariffs are.
Yeah.
But certainly to the States, there's zero tariff with the
Oh.
UK.
Oh,
But
we're pretty special up here. We pay a lot of stuff.
but certainly the
They
shipping,
give it to us up here.
the shipping is shipping's not expensive. It's something like certainly for sending one tent is about UK. I'm talking about UK pounds, approximately about 150 pounds for a golf tent, which is pretty good for the weight of it and the size and the speed of it. So it's pretty good, Jeff.
All right. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, what an impressive product.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
really, really slick.
And it's
You know,
nice, and
yeah.
I'm trying to keep it simple and nice and easy. And any more questions, gentlemen? Anything at all?
Yeah,
So
I had a
versatile.
question I'm not sure
Thank
that
you,
you
Jeff.
covered, which is flammability of the material. So if we put a little heater in there, being in Canada, what's the flammability ratio for your material?
I can't answer that one, Bob, to be honest with you.
Okay.
That's one thing I
Can't
can
smoke in
certainly
there,
find
Bob.
out.
So maybe Mike can light one on fire for us.
No, I'm not gonna. We don't want to sit bullshit and say it's fully flat. I just don't know. That's a good question, actually. Bob, I need to look
Yeah,
at now.
for our environment, we
Yeah,
really
yeah.
deal more with the spring and fall season
Yeah.
when if we could have a little portable heater at the back,
Yeah, absolutely.
that would help. So
Yeah, absolutely. We'll find out. I'll find out about that.
yeah, and
Or
you
for
can just
those of our
forward your
students who still smoke and chuck their cigars on the ground.
That's
Yeah,
me in there.
really.
That's me
Yeah.
last year,
Yeah.
the prototype. So it's a good. So you can see it's a good size there.
Yeah.
But if you could just forward that response to Mark, that'd be great. Mark always sends stuff out in his newsletter to us.
Will do.
So on
Will
your
do.
first set of slides, you were shown a breakdown of income and lost time with weather.
yes, sir.
Was that Spain or Scotland or Canada?
Well, that was Mike. You done that.
Yeah, that was U.S. We deal with a lot of thunderstorms, things of that nature, and
It was probably southern US.
yeah, southern U.S. We tend to lose at least 100 days a year, and not that you're going to teach 365 days, but I mean,
But like up here, I live in Uxbridge, and I'm probably say 6 months would be my year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can kind of come up with your own analysis there. I just based it on a 12-month year, that being where I'm from.
Sure.
And if you don't mind me hopping in there, guys, the pricing on that looks really good. I'm going to tell you, I'm sitting in my golf simulator, which I built and I'm running. This is like 95% cheaper than what I spent to build this place. So if that gives you any indication, you're saving a lot of money by doing something like this. If this had been around a couple of years ago, where especially if you do have a 6-month season, Paul, if you lose, the downside of a 6-month season is you lose a month or two to bad weather, too hot, too cold, too rainy. Like that really hits the income. I used to coach in a place that had that. Now I'm down in Vancouver year round, but we still have bad weather outside. This is amazing. I love my space, that's for sure. But if you want to spend 100, like 90, well, that's even wrong. 95, let me just say 10 times to 15 times more than that to get this, go for it. But this is expensive. That's not as much. So like, just as far as a value goes, especially in a shorter season, it might seem like a lot when you're looking at it. I'm looking at that being like, I just spent 15 times that to create my own. So, you know, this is a pretty good deal. I'm saying, and it gives you the opportunity to not lose some of those days. I don't work for you guys. I'm not.
No, thanks.
I'm not getting paid to say that, but just from
thank you, Curtis.
A place that does have a lot of rain. And I used to work 6 months a year at a place that we weren't open in the winter. It's a pretty good option, I think.
Thank you, Curtis.
One thing that Mark said when we first started talking to him was the concern about sun damage to people's skin, and how people have to be concerned with melanomas and things of that nature. So I think there's value in what it offers there.
That's definitely my priority. If I was, and I'm highly considering this, it's just going to prolong my career of teaching golf outdoors, because every year you're in the sun, it's worse and worse and worse. And that's what I'm worried about. I'm not necessarily worried about the lessons that I lose in the rain or the storms. I'm more worried about the lessons I don't lose that are in the heat and the sun. So
I think it's a quality of lessons as well, though, isn't it? When you're coaching, and if you're covered, you know, if you're out there, not just, I know exactly what you're saying, Mark, and you're absolutely spot on. It's so dangerous, but it's a quality of giving lessons, you know, in terms of still going out there and the pupil thinking, actually, I'm covered now, you know, so that's great. I don't need to worry about, you know, there's nothing worse than standing doing a lesson when you're getting freezing cold, or the wind, or whatever it is as well, the rain, or I know they get cancelled, but we still do lessons in the poor weather as well, don't we? We have to do them. You know, so it's nice to be out that weather. It's certainly much more productive lesson, as you know. You certainly get much more out of your pupils than that, for sure.
I know in my location as well, it would be the best marketing ever is people say, what is on the driving range? What is down there? And it's like, well, that's Mark Ray. He teaches under that.
Who gets to use that, right? So it creates awareness, and then your students feel special about being in there. They feel a little bit of privacy, right? They're separated from the other driving range rats. So the exclusivity of that makes it a whole good learning environment.
I think especially you're right, Jeff. You're right, especially I think for a lot of female golfers starting, because they're very self-conscious, and you know, so it kind of gets them out of that, doesn't it?
Hey guys, because if you look at this picture that I've got displayed right now, you can kind of see the corner joints and the exposed steel poles. I've talked to Steve. Again, in addition to the side advertising that you could do, you could have banners carabinered to these poles and drape something across the back of it. Or you could, you know, hang maybe a foot tall banner in front from side to side or something. Again, just to, you know, advertise your telephone number, your email address, whatever it is for, you know, someone passing by that wants to take lessons from you.
Quite a good size that though, gents. If you look at that side there, that's quite a good size that, really. I think when that's on the range, it's going to be easy to sell that. You know, for this, like you said, it, Mark, what you said, people really see it, stands out. What is that? That's a great thing. If you're working, if you're sorry, if you're a member of a golf club, you've got some kind of business, and you see that and you think there's opportunity to sell in it, well, why not?
Yeah.
Even for a pay, you can be very dynamic in how you do it, maybe 3 months, 6 months, whatever, cover your costs.
And the
I think it's
reality,
magic.
the reality is it's going to be a 3, 5. How long is it going to last? Is it going to last 5 years, 10
Yeah,
years?
I would say so, Mark. And I think
5?
about it, the way we've done it is that if anything gets damaged, then it can be replaced or fixed. I guess even with the cover, if it was let's say, God forbid, it got ripped, you just get it sewn up or you get it patched. It's one of these things that, it's the reason I say that is because I've got experience of the original golf tent and inflatable legs. We've got punctured, or it's a bit of a nightmare. Trying to find it first of all. But this here, if something breaks, you just replace it. That's a good thing. So we've tried to do it in a way that it could last as long as you look. Obviously, it's like anything; it has to be looked after. If you obviously respect it, and it's like anything, isn't it? And you will do, because it's your bread and butter, really, isn't it, for working? So that's one thing. But I think one thing is I would certainly, if I'm in a safe environment, I just collapse it down and just leave it, then just pop back, if I'm away for the night and come back in the morning to fix. It just takes 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is good. You've got that air vent at the back. You've seen the picture there, gents, as well. There's an air vent in the back there. That's not in that photograph. That previous photograph you've seen was that was a prototype. That was the original prototype. But this is a new one that Mike's got, and that's got an air vent in the back. Is air vents in the sides, but air vent in the back as well there. So
yeah, it's impressive. The one thing I'll follow up to, Steve, is I had an impact screen. Actually, I had several impact screens imported from the UK. From a company called Golf Bays. They're pretty well known over there, and they come in and there's very little duty. So I didn't notice it was any real exception, like for the amount, and it was over $1,000 worth of impact screens. I don't.
A quick one, Mark, is with that's a good point, Mark. It's interesting that the journey we've been on to try and perfect this product. Me and Michael, when we got the very, very first Golf Tent Pro, and we set it up inside, and it was in a little village. I don't live in Crieff anymore. I live in Bridge of Erne, which is another little village, even smaller. Anyway, I set the golf tent up, and they'd sent us this impact screen. And I first looked at it, it was kind of plastic. And Michael hit the first shot, and the ball went right through it. And I thought, oh my God, I just knew this is the wrong. What have they sent us here? Because the factory just didn't understand. They outsourced this thing. So obviously we got the proper one after a few attempts. We got one properly done, which is really, like I said, it's a really nice quality one. But I mean, the ball only one shot it's had, and right through it. So it's just quite interesting, isn't it? That journey you go on to try and perfect it.
Well, Steve, Mike, thanks so much for the presentation.
You're welcome.
I think you guys blew it out of the water, and hopefully there will be a few of these in Canada. So
hopefully, guys. And listen, just want to thank everyone for taking the time tonight. We really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you soon. And if there's anything at all you need from us, please get in touch, Mike. Mark, you've got my email, haven't you, as well? So please pass that on. And obviously, me or Mike will be there to answer at all. Okay, so anything at all you need, or any further questions that people have maybe got written down, or whatever you need, please get in touch. We're here all the time. Okay, and just want to wish everyone a nice Christmas as well.
Yeah, thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Cheers, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you.
Take care. Thank you, Mark, for organizing this. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Mike. Great job.
Bye-bye.
Great job.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Yeah. All right, we are. I thought that was pretty good. I didn't know what to expect, what your response would be. I know the question's always about the wind, right? How it's going to stand up there. But when you start thinking about the places it's already in existence in Alabama and Scotland, it's got to obviously stand up to the elements, right?
Well, and the reality is if it's really too windy out, you're probably not going to be out there either way, you know. So it would have to be conducive to golf weather, you know, in general. I mean, if it's blowing 80 kilometers an hour, you're likely not going to be out there anyway. So yeah, it is impressed by. I'm impressed by the size. You see the guy in there, you know, hitting a ball like that's a big tent. I'm not sure they answered my question fully. I was wondering if the net could drape over the front of the tent.
Onto it,
So
yeah.
when you're in it, you could be hitting out. And I don't think that's the case, actually.
No,
Yeah.
it's towards the back, hitting towards the back.
Okay.
It would have been good if they would have shown what two people look like in that thing. There's
Yeah.
lots of room for one, but what was it look like if someone's 6'3" hitting a driver and his teacher standing beside him? I think that's something that they should show.
It's actually, I've seen either videos or photos of two people hitting balls at the same time.
Okay.
So like you could actually teach two people in it, and it's pretty big. 7 feet behind them, I'm not sure you can get a great video from 7 feet behind.
Yeah, that's going to be dark because of the color.
Yeah.
That's pretty close to the, you know, where you could put you know, a rear seated launch monitor too, though. So it seems like it can be, you know, besides the side mounted launch monitor, it seems like you could probably get one in, you know, a rear seated one as well.
Light scope needs at least 7 feet, so that would be correct. And then I just recommend, that's what I have in my studio, is at least 7 feet there. But I would then recommend a tripod instead of standing behind them, maybe with a tripod with a camera on it, and then have the ability to kind of like show something on an iPad or whatever. You could stand behind them most likely, but it might be a little tight with a driver. But to be honest, if they're at the front of that and you're at the back of it and they're hitting out onto a range, I think you're totally fine. Yeah, you're totally fine. Like it's only if you both had to be inside in a little bit of rain or wind or something, maybe backed up a little bit, then it might be a little tight. But honestly, it looked like it was big enough for sure.
Yeah.
I would just hope they would give you really good pegs to peg that baby down.
Yeah.
Right. Because when it gets windy, man, you're going to be like Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
I did take a look at their website while they were presenting. They actually have an option for simulator bay. So they have a front and a back attachment. So yeah, Greg, your comment about the impact screen, if you have this simulator bay option, you would actually turn that tent around and then they add another piece behind it. And it looked like roughly about $1,500 more for each package. And an option.
Yeah, pretty versatile.
Yeah. Well, we lost quite a few guys, which is fine, but Garlo, Stewart, and Curtis.
Hey, long time no see.
Yeah, how are you?
Not bad.
We at the beginning, we were just doing some social stuff, and we are telling everybody where we're from, and what's your CGTF, how long you've been there with us, and maybe either the best part of your year or best purchase of the year. And so there's 3 people left. If everybody wants to hang out for another 15 minutes, we'll call her a night at 9 o'clock. How's that sound?
Sure.
Let's do this.
Yeah, Stuart, you go because you're unmuted.
Okay. It looks like I have the nicest internet connection too. Looks pretty crappy, but so I'm from Webwood, Northern Ontario, by Sudbury, an hour west of Sudbury. Didn't really make any purchases for my teaching. Didn't get a lot of time to do it with my job. Been trying to come out to these Monday night things, but I've been getting called out to drive truck, and I'm supposed to be working in the office. But looking more and more seriously at doing more lessons. And
We just got a driving range that opened back up that's been closed for about 15 years. So everyone's pretty excited about that. And I know the people. So I'm going to put a shingle up there, and I'm sure that will spark some business for next year, and try to devote a little more time. Plus, I got off our golf executive. I've been on that for a while, so that takes a lot of time. So maybe give them a little bit more time to this.
That's awesome, Stuart. Well, welcome to our. Oh, Carlo's going to go before he told us his exciting stuff.
Yeah, well, mine wasn't that exciting, but I've been wanting to come out and just say hey to you guys and, you know, see what's going on. And it took me about a month. So tonight I decided I was going to do it, and then I had to update everything on my Zoom and blah, blah, blah. And 15 minutes later, I come in. So.
No worries. We're glad to have you. It's nice to share. So that means we'll do the best for last. Curtis got so much to talk about, and he likes to talk. So here we go.
I'll try to keep it short. So yeah, last 7 months for me has been quite the journey. Mark and Jeff know about it. I've been kind of keeping them in the loop, but I have my own indoor golf studio now. And so it's taken me about 7 months to build it. It's in an actual mall. I'm down on the Lower Mainland in Vancouver area. My golf course that I'm the head teaching pro at is in Ladner, Delta Ladner kind of thing. This is in Tawasin. So if anybody's been out this way and taken the ferries, it's pretty close to the ferry terminals. It's in a mall, which is actually pretty cool. So I got a lot of nice walk-up traffic. And Tawasin is affectionately known down here as the home of the newlyweds and the nearly deads. So this is pretty good market for me. I got a lot of my students were here, and I wanted something like I'm literally 12 minutes away from my golf course. So my golf course closes on October 31st and reopens March 1st. So that golf tent would have been great for me if I could have been outdoors on the grounds. But since we closed, I really didn't have much. Now, at my other golf course I used to be at, I had sort of a temporary with COVID. I was able to use some of the banquet facilities and kind of teach indoors. But my dream was always to have my own indoor golf studio and then still be at a course. So living the dream right now, which is great. Other than when you look at the bills, that's not as much of a dream. It does cost a lot to build something like this, and that doesn't include the monthly stuff. So that golf tent, if I would have had that like a few years ago where I didn't really, let's say have an indoor space, you know, prior to COVID or whatever, I would have been perfect. I would have spent $4,000 on something that would have got me back that first year, because I would have had those 30-degree days that nobody wants to come out in the sun. I would have been like, well, we're in the shade. So, and then they're like, okay, cool. The days that it's a little bit overcast, it's not now, hey, looks like it's going to rain today. Could we, you know, kind of schedule another day this week? And then you're kind of working with scheduling. Now I have the studio. I just say, well, I'll meet you at the studio. No problem. But that's also like a lot more than that golf tent was. So I'm very happy though being here. It's pretty awesome. The space is really good. The lighting's not doing it justice probably on the video here, but yeah, that's my exciting news. Is just it's been a lot of effort, a lot of money. It's everything in here is premium though. Like I've not pinched one. So I probably should have pinched a penny here in a couple of places, but I didn't. So it's you know, I kind of looked at it. I'm like, well, I'm a little over budget now. So what's a little more over budget? But when you do that about 100 times, it does add up. But it is a really nice space. When people walk in, they're kind of wowed by it. They're like, wow, this is really nice. And that's really sort of helps justify what I have spent on it. But it's already picking up. I opened officially on November 30th. And after 7 months of construction and whatnot, and it's already really booming. So it's good. It's good. I'm happy with the move. So. Awesome. There you go. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thanks very much. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I appreciate that.
So after the PNC tournament, watching Scramble all weekend, I come up with an idea, and I'm going to share it with you guys. When we go out to BC to do our CGTF Cup, I thought we would host a fun event the day before. We've already talked about this, but a two-person scramble. at your place. And so we can, you know, I know there's some Calgary bound golfers going out to Vancouver area. So anyways, that's the plan, and we'll get it kind of formalized in the new year. I've got the golf course reserved finally for the CGTF Cup. Gilles LeBlanc, for those that remember Gilles, he's a teaching pro at Green Tea, which used to be called Pagoda Ridge, which we used to always frequent when we were out there years ago before COVID. So anyways, they're quite well, they've actually reserved the date for us. So they're going to host us. We haven't got any pricing from them. So that's where the CGTF Cup's going to be. And they're actually going to do a meal for us. So they don't have a clubhouse, but it's going to be a patio meal. I guess they do that on a regular basis. But I'm thinking either the Monday or the Tuesday before the CGTF Cup, we'll go to your place, Curtis, and have a two-person scramble and have a fun event, and maybe a hamburger afterwards or something.
That sounds great. And when Mark says my place, he doesn't mean the studio, although we're all welcome to come here and practice and play and get some numbers and whatnot, sea level and all that. You'll have to know what your numbers are. But after that, yeah, it's the links at Hampton Cove, and that would be awesome. And we'll get all that set up. It's a very nice course, very challenging, great greens. Get ready. There's water and bunkers on every hole. It's not an easy course to play in that sense, but it is a wonderful, I think a two-man scramble there with fun. It would be a blast. So yeah, I'm happy to hear that. I think it would be great. And you're all welcome to come here and get warmed up, practice, get the numbers right. When you're coming from that, the altitude change is going to make a difference.
Perfect. Well, Jeff Howe, what's your best purchase or event of the year?
I don't know. I've been trying to cut down on the purchases, although I did buy one just a while ago. It's called the Connector. It's by Sure Golf. And I quite like it because it's simple and it offers both feel and see. So I think it's a fun little tool. I've started using it indoors already with some brand new golfers, and it really started to create an awareness to the arm hand club relationship and how it travels with regards to their body's ability to move the club. So I'm liking that. That would be my purchase for the year. I've got so much stuff I'm trying to get rid of. So because I'm going back like with Tim, you know, after listening to Larry, I think that it's time that we, you know, we start to simplify things. We start to understand, how do people actually just stand up to the ball? What do they look like in their initial setup, right? How do they respond to actually using an implement in their hands and trying to hit it down towards a target? How do they allow their bodies to figure it out? And how do they posture and position themselves without me or us telling them how are they going to achieve that? So I like that sort of freedom of letting them sort of start to find their own ways before we start to get too technical, right? And we allow them to be intuitive and instinctive, adaptive. So I'm going to, you know, challenge myself to change again next year or this coming season, to just, again, take this little off time to reflect on what I did and how I'm going to do things maybe a little bit different. I've listened to Larry, I've read his ebooks, and I'm not going to follow him per se, but I'm aware that there are different ways to swing the club, as we all know. So just being more open to allowing people to explore I guess, and then trying to match up, you know, their grip with their body's ability, and then match up the ball position and all those good things. So just gonna try not to be too technical, which I never am, but just allow them to let it flow. Right? Have some freedom, let them figure it out, and you know, just try to have more fun and make it really more enjoyable. Continue to be encouraging, and you know, I think Greg Wells said it best: when it's entertaining. I always like to entertain, have funny little sayings or phrases, or wear the grass skirts and all those sorts of things, and just continue to be helpful. So that's my New Year's resolution.
That's awesome.
What about you,
Jeff?
Mark Ray?
Well, you know what? In 2023, I gotta say that I've had probably the best year of my life. Like it was, my kids are doing great. My wife's doing great. The CGTF is growing and going in a direction that I'm proud of. I'm proud of every member. I'm proud of Jeff Howe for over delivering all the time. Larry Rinker was probably one of the highlights for me of the year because I'm such a big fan. And then sometimes you think people are going to be wonderful, and once you get to know them a little bit more, even though it's online, you think, oh man, that was a bust. But he was the exact opposite. He was even better, I thought, than I expected. Purchases wise, I'm terrible because I do buy golf stuff. I can tell you the funny thing is, I never once thought I would play graphite irons, and I got the graphite irons in my Strixons, and my Golf Spy put out on Facebook today that cheat code is the MK2 ZX4 or 5s, and I have those with the graphite irons, the recoil shafts in them. They were incredible. One of the purchases, I made a couple purchases this fall that I haven't really used to the full capacity, but one of the neat ones, Greg Salazar was talking about the pressure mats, and pressure mats are so expensive. That's one of the downsides to them. Anyways, I bought salted insoles, and I don't know if you guys ever heard of the salted insoles, but they do almost exactly the same thing as a pressure mat. And the reason I don't teach people of the caliber that are even under 20 handicaps. I teach a lot of beginner golfers to throw them on a pressure mat. I know Greg would argue with me, and so would Terry Hashimoto. But they're not using pressure mats. They're learning to hit the ball. They're learning balance and stuff like Tim Crow talked about. Like absolutely. And rhythm and tempo and timing. So anyways, I bought the salted insoles for my own personal golf game. And I find that they're incredible. The other thing that I bought that just recently, and I've used it a little bit because I thought I was going to dedicate this winter to becoming a really good putter. And I bought the X Putt. Calvin's laughing at me. But I bought an X Putt, which is a putting simulator. And I got it from somebody in Alberta, and they shipped it to me. And it is incredible. It shows all the data of the putter and when it's open and the tempo and timing. And it's so much fun to use. So that on top of the SkyTrack Plus I have is all the technology I need. But the reality is, you know, we had a great CGTF Cup, and I played above my head, and so that was fun. But all in all, 2023, it was a great year. Jeff and I just finished the certification with Georgian College, which I would argue was maybe the best class we've ever had with Georgian College, because it's one of the harder certifications that we do when we're doing certifications, whether it was back in person before COVID or online. Everybody was really keen to be there and learn. And then when you get thrown into a college class where they just don't seem to have that same enthusiasm as a rule, this last course I would say was much better and much more engaged and wanting to teach and that sort of thing. So, you know, all in all, no complaints at this end at all. It's been a really good year, and hopefully we can continue to deliver value to the membership and keep up with good continuing education, so you guys can feel I guess engaged to get to keep going and to get better. For guys like Derek who kind of question your ability, I'm sure if you think about all the skills that you have that you brought into the CGTF, they serve you as well as anything we've given you. So you just got to kind of remember that, you know, you've got this far in life and you've got a lot of good skills. So use those skills. You know, we all have different skills. Every one of us have different skills. So the teaching the golf, we're all going to do it a little differently anyways, right? So it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect every second, but if you're enjoying the process and your students enjoying the process, it's going to work out.
Your students are getting a little bit better. You just be you. Just do you.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Don't try to fake it till you make it. Just be open and honest. Right. And just be yourself.
Yeah.
Do the best with what you got. And
appreciate you guys staying on and making our guests feel welcome. And you know, I think to be over in Scotland at 1 o'clock in the morning is never fun, right? You're trying to put a good impression forward to a bunch of Canadians, and you don't really know how it's going to go down because your main man's in Alabama and you don't know what he's doing. And so anyways, appreciate that. And I might even buy a golf tent. We'll see. All right, guys.
Thank you guys for everything you do. We appreciate it.
No, thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Cheers,
I
guys.
wish
Nice to meet you.
everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Be safe, be strong.
Merry Christmas.
Right back at you guys, and
Nice
really,
to see you
really
guys.
appreciate the leadership.
Merry Christmas.
Cheers. Yep.
Thank you all.
Keep
All right.
up the good work.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep. Keep up the good work, Curtis.
Thank you. We'll see you guys this summer. I'm excited.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Sounds like Curtis is killing it.
Yeah,
it's getting there. It's getting there.
Yeah,
Although
sure.
I think for a while the Bills kill you, so you know you keep building. But no, you know what? I wouldn't trade it for anything. So it's been awesome. It's been awesome. You guys will see it when you come out here. So
we will.
Awesome.
All right.
All right,
guys.
You guys in
Ho,
January.
ho, ho. I gotta go.
Yep.